This is Modern Gaming Culture. This series will attempt to highlight the phenomenon of PC, console, and mobile gaming and bring to light all of its phenomenal aspects. Let's take a dive together into the world of modern gaming and take apart its structure. Now, here's your host, Rotimi Osagi. Alright, this is Modern Gaming Culture. This is episode 12, Modern Gaming Culture. Last episode, I sort of built it as like a series on, particularly, my workflow while I'm playing, League of Legends on the ranked server. Um, and so this is gonna be the conclusion of that series. Um, and it's probably gonna stay as, a series on this show because um, I still have to play a lot more League for sure. Only played like maybe 20 games since I've started playing again. So I have quite a few more games to play. But you know, uh, through playing and sort of observing and sort of, taking notes on what I'm observing and stuff like that. Um, you know, kind of goes back to what I was talking about in the first episode, right? Where I was talking about how I consider the time we live in to be like an internet dark age, right? And so, you know, a large issue when it comes to particularly the League of Legends ranked server is, this internet dark age that we've sort of been shunted into, and then, this kind of prevalence of this archetypal internet bully, right? It's been illustrated in a lot of different ways. It's like a couple like kids movies. I think it's called Unfriended or something like that. I think that's a horror movie. Um, but there's like this movie with that girl from Hannah Montana, Emily Osment. It's pretty funny. It's not funny, but it's comical the way they kind of illustrate it because it's a very serious issue, particularly people, being driven to suicide and stuff like that. By you know, internet bullying, right? And sort of the culture that is sort of fomented. Um, but that's kind of the bottom line, right? People really um, feeling alone, basically, right? Again, right? Because I'm not quite a child anymore. Let's just say, um, especially growing up in the sort of inception of the internet culture, right, and the inception of the internet in society. I've pretty much seen the internet come and go, right, and so in its entirety, right, really haven't seen like I mean, you can't really consider those kind of very antiquated ways of accessing the internet, like through dial-up and stuff like that, right, or like going to like a library and getting a library card, which I did participate in. But generally, like when the internet was starting, right, and they were setting up computers and libraries, right, and you get your library card, and you log in and stuff. That's not necessary. That's more like testing the internet, right? Because now we don't have to, do dial-up and stuff like that, or go to the library, and have like timed use on the internet, right? And so, um, it's something where, you know, I'm very familiar with the internet, you know, and so, um, it's not something where, I'm very much, mystified by a lot of this phenomena that's going on because of the internet, right? And so something where I very much understand sort of kind of how we got here, right? And so, it's something where I understand it very well. And so as a result, it's not much of a mystery, sort of kind of what has occurred, etc. Um, with respect to the internet, right? Um, and for people that generally, kind of just, popped into the world and the internet was there, the internet is something where they just don't really even question it, right? And so, that's a lot more dangerous of a proposition than people who were grown up into the internet, right? Or people who were adults and then the internet came around and then they entered the internet sphere, right? Because there's no culture. You're just bringing in what the culture was onto the internet. And so, I can report that, the internet and, internet culture and, PvP gaming on the internet, in the early 2010s, late 2000s was pretty good, right? It was very easy to characterize a lot of these people, right? And there wasn't really an issue when it came to really trying to, wrap your head around a lot of stuff, right? Um, and so now that the internet has become a lot more powerful, right, and fast and accessible, right, um, and easy to consume, right, it's starting to become an issue, right. So I think I'm just gonna leave it there for this episode. It's gonna be another short episode. And so I'm just gonna close it for this episode too. So yeah, because I'm getting ready to go play some Pokemon. So I'm just gonna get ready for that. So it's been Modern Gamer Culture. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you.